We're pleased to be joined now by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School in Clawson, joining us now on the MegaCast. Kerri, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Tyler. It's great to join with you again.
Appreciate having you on. So for those unfamiliar with the Japhet School, how does it vary from other schools in our local area?
Sure. Japhet School was founded almost 50 years ago by a group of parents that wanted more morals or ethics, a balance of character and education, academics taught to their children. So that's the foundation of Japhet, is a blend, a strength of character education and strong academics to preschool through 8th grade students.
So is this an independent school, or is this within a school district partnership?
It is an independent school. So we are part of AIMS, which is the Association of Independent Schools in Michigan. Yes.
And how does that vary your school's approach to this COVID-19 school year? Because we spoke earlier on in the week with one of the executives of the Michigan Association of Non-Public Schools who had mentioned that those non-public schools are still under the same regulations at the county level and the state level as public schools. Is that also the case for an independent school like the Japhet School?
Yes, absolutely correct. The health department governs, and we know right now that we're under an emergency order for masks, and certainly we are abide by that and would with the safety of our students and our faculty and staff.
So prior to the mask mandate, what was the masking policy and the COVID protocols that were in place at the Japhet School? And I ask that just for an overview of the school's opinion and approach on addressing COVID-19 in school facilities in this school year, because obviously at this point in time, Oakland County has a school mask mandate in place across the board for those that are vaccinated or unvaccinated. It does not matter one way or another. But what was the Japhet School's approach prior to the mask mandate? What's the opinion of the school on what is the best for its students in terms of COVID protocols to prevent the spread in their school?
Certainly. I'd like to go back to March of 2020 when the governor gave the order to close all schools in the state of Michigan. And at that point, we immediately pivoted over the weekend to virtual or remote learning. And each of our students went home with a Chromebook. And those few months through the end of the school year, we remained remote. And then through the summer of 2020, we put together a very thorough and comprehensive document that's a health and safety protocol for on-campus learning. And with that, parents were surveyed. There was a strong partnership with our parents and our trustees, faculty, staff, administration. And through that came a very clear and comprehensive document from hand washing, hygiene, to masking, to social distancing, to protocols that students should only come to school feeling in good health. And that really did prevent a great deal of, I think, any problems that might have occurred, is that parents took that very seriously, and students only came when they were in good health. And so that eliminated anything that could come onto campus. We take it very seriously. Parents know that the health and safety of their students and for faculty and staff is my top priority. And then, yes.
No, please continue on, sorry.
No, and so moving forward, I actually had not made a decision prior to the mandate with the masks. I was watching, certainly consulting staff and parents as well, and wondering what direction this should go, but it was very fluid. And I watched other districts, and just as I was going to announce a mask mandate to start the school year, the health department did come out with a mandate. So we were on the same wavelength, and we will continue this until the order is lifted, and then I will take a really hard look at it due to the numbers and the health climate, so to speak. But the health and safety is number one of our students.
We're joined by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School in Clawson with us today on the MegaCast. And Kerri, the school underwent some redesigning and even added a new STEM lab recently. Care to provide us with some details on what some of those other redesigning features were, and then talk about, of course, the STEM lab?
You know, after having over 18 months of, really a sense of heaviness that we had to work through in the journey through the pandemic, and not that that's over, but became clear to me that when we did receive the grant for the STEM lab, which fully will facilitate a STEM lab for our 5th through 8th graders and our entire school, that we needed a classroom that could house that. So doing that, it meant that every classroom, with the exception of our preschool, would be relocated. So that would be like in your home deciding we're going to pack every room and we're just going to paint it. We're going to move out and we're going to shift. And that's what we did through the summer. It was a huge undertaking, but every classroom has a new look, a new perspective, a sense of refreshing. And teachers, although it was a lot of hard work through the summer, are really excited to move forward, and our STEM lab is just stellar. Everyone's excited. Leading into that, we have an open house tonight, which will be the first time since March 2020 that our parents have been in the building. And this is something that is just a huge event for us and a lot of anticipation, and we're just all excited.
Also, the middle school in the Japhet School is changing its perspective on teaching, its approach to teaching as well, going to what's called a partnership teaching model for the coming school year. What does that mean? How is that going to be of benefit to the students?
Certainly. We had a class was 5th through 6th grade, which was called intermediate class, and then 7th and 8th was called upper class. So in taking a hard look at this and what would be best for our students with our intimate class sizes, I like to call them, we combined our 5th through 8th graders. They moved into the largest classroom that we have, and it's quite sizable, and with the STEM lab. And then so those students will all be in the classroom learning together, yet separate, pulled out in smaller groups when necessary. There'll be like a flow of regrouping, depending on a topic, depending on an interest of a student. So we call it partner teaching rather than co-teaching, because there's 2 teachers and they'll each have their own homerooms, but they're in the same room. So it's an interesting concept and approach, and I think all our students will benefit from that.
We're joined by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School in Clawson with us today on the MegaCast. And Kerri, this reimagined format, it ultimately goes back to this question of how did the pandemic impact your school's approach to educating and also your approach to providing learning opportunities to children? Did it change those, and how did that affect planning for programs in this upcoming school year and going forward?
Certainly. Well, we like to think of ourselves as an experiential-based classrooms where we're hands-on, lots of projects, project-based learning. So when the pandemic did hit, we know that we had to be separated 6 feet. So that took away having partners in learning or getting together in groups and enjoying hands-on experiences. Desks had to come in and tables were removed so that they were learning more in an individual manner, but it didn't lessen what they were learning. We just had to approach it in a different fashion. And some of this, there were silver linings that came about, new approaches for teachers, individual teachers. They would have their own new approaches to teaching a certain topic, but yet we did a lot with videos. We had a lot with Zoom calls where I can give one example of an aeronautics engineer from Blue Origin visited virtually with our students and was part of the latest launch of the rocket that went into space. So they were studying the moon. That was at the middle school level, and they had an authentic speaker speak to them about what it meant to travel into space and the preparation. So we leaned on our technology. We leaned on learning more outside of our building as well. The walls just kind of came down, so to speak. And moving forward, with having to have masks this year, we will be using the outdoors more. And we know that the mandate is for indoors only. We will be, when the students are outdoors in their outdoor learning spaces, which we do have for each classroom, they will not have to wear masks. They'll be in fresh air. They will be socially distant. But we also have 2 stellar parks that are just in walking distance from school, which we will use as part of our campus. And I think that will certainly broaden the scope of the students' learning. One is Tenhave Woods, which is right behind Royal Oak High School. And the other one is just a brand new park, which is Normandy Oaks. And it's down Normandy Road as well, within walking distance. It's 40 acres. It has an oak savanna natural habitat area, streams, ponds, learning environments that we will take advantage of.
We're joined by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School with us today on the MegaCast. And Kerri, according to my notes, the Japhet School still has some limited enrollment availability for this school year. How can parents address that if they would like to enroll their kids at the Japhet School, and what grade levels are still available for enrollment?
Right. Our third, and thank you for asking that, our 3rd through 8th graders. So we do have limited enrollment there. And if someone was interested in learning more about Japhet School, they could call us or visit our website. So, which is japhetschool.org. And all of our information is on there. I can also give the phone number if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay, it's 248-585-9150.
All right, we were joined by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School, joining us today on the MegaCast. And Kerri, you mentioned before that Japhet School, of course, is complying with all of the COVID-19 regulations that are in place for Oakland County, through Oakland County, their mask mandate and so on and so forth. That mandates all students and staff and faculty, regardless of vaccination staff, wear masks indoors. And there's been some focus in your school district of moving some classes outdoors to have more of those more normal interactions, but also integrate the outdoors into educational opportunities. In terms of your staff and your faculty, some educational institutions, particularly universities, have put in place their own mandates for vaccinations of staff. What is the vaccination status to the point that you can provide to us of your staff and your faculty, and are there any requirements in place or that may be put into place going forward in terms of requirements for vaccination?
Good question. Because we're small, and I know our faculty intimately, we're like a family. There was no issue with compliance. I'll just leave it at that. So, okay.
Okay. All right. We are joined by Kerri Vizena. She is the head of school at the Japhet School out of Clawson with us on the MegaCast. Just another couple minutes with you, Kerri, before we'll say goodbye today. Is there anything else at this moment in time that would be important for our audience to know, or something interesting for people to know about the Japhet School going forward?
Just that how much that we place on character education. And I think in today's world, that's so important. There's so many issues worldwide that come to us, and certainly our children, children in high school that are dealing with issues that may seem very confusing and troubling. And I think to give a strong foundation of character and how to treat others is so important as we launch our students out into the world. And they do go out into the world using the character, and our alums let us know how much that has meant to them, and we value that greatly. So that's what I would just like to add.
We appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us today, Kerri.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Have a good day.